let's talk about focus and distraction, and a surprisingly simple tool that can make a massive difference for anyone with an ADHD brain. We're going to dive right in.
So let me just ask you this. Have you ever been, totally in the zone, deep in a project, and then the office printer starts up? Or you hear a phone ringing down the hall? And poof, just like that, your concentration is completely gone.
If you're nodding your head right now, you are so not alone. For a whole lot of people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, this isn't just some small annoyance. It is a daily reality.
So first up, let's really get into it, the problem with noise. Let's talk about what it actually feels like when every sound feels overwhelming.
I mean, think about a typical office, right? For a lot of people, all that background hum just kind of fades away. But for a brain wired with ADHD, every single one of those sounds, the phone, your coworkers chatting, that printer whirring to life, even someone making coffee, it can feel like a bright spotlight suddenly shining right in your eyes, pulling your focus away. It can make staying on track feel almost impossible.
So what is actually going on here? Why does this happen? Let's take a look under the hood at the neuroscience of it all. Your brain on distraction.
This isn't just a feeling. Psychologist Dr. Justin Puter really hits the nail on the head here. He says that people with ADHD have a hard time filtering out what he calls extraneous sounds. So it's not about a lack of willpower. It's a very real neurological challenge. What one person's brain just tunes out, another person's brain simply can't ignore.
And a really big player in this whole story is a chemical called dopamine. Think of it like the brain's little focus manager. It's a chemical messenger that is absolutely crucial for regulating your attention. Well, some research suggests that people with ADHD might have lower levels of available dopamine, which can make managing that attention a much, much bigger challenge.
And we're not just talking about a minor inconvenience here. This difference in brain chemistry can have some serious real-world consequences. It can make it incredibly tough to stay organized, to hit deadlines, to follow instructions, or even just to finish a task you started. It can make it hard to stay locked in during a long conversation or while you're trying to read. Like one psychologist said, for these folks, concentration it breaks easily.
Okay, so that sounds pretty intense, right? But what if there was a simple, easy-to-get tool that could actually help? Is there really such a thing as a soundproof solution?
Well, here's the secret. The key isn't really silence. I mean, that's pretty much impossible to find anyway. The real goal is creating a controlled auditory environment. It's all about control. And one of the best ways to get that control? A simple pair of headphones.
And this works in a couple of really cool ways. So on one hand, you've got your noise-canceling headphones. They are fantastic for blocking out those sudden, unpredictable sounds, like a door slamming shut. But on the other hand, you don't even need those. Just playing some familiar music or even some white noise can be just as effective. And why is that? It all comes down to predictability. When your brain is wrapped in a constant, familiar soundscape, those random, jarring noises are way less likely to break through and steal your focus.
Now, headphones are an amazing tool, for sure, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. So let's look at some other tools you can put in your focus-building toolbox. And this is maybe the most important thing to remember. There is no one-size-fits-all solution here. What works like magic for one person might do absolutely nothing for someone else. Finding the right strategies is usually a process of good old trial and error. You just have to see what clicks with your brain and your work style.
So one super popular strategy that experts often recommend is called the Pomodoro technique. It's really simple. You just work with intense focus for 25 minutes straight. Then you take a quick 5-minute break. You do that 4 times, and then you get a longer break, like 15 or 30 minutes. It's a great way to make huge, intimidating tasks feel way more manageable.
But, again, it's not for everybody. While the Pomodoro method is a game changer for some, other people find that stopping every 25 minutes is actually the worst thing for them. It completely breaks their flow, and it's hard to get back in the zone. For those people, an approach called deep focus often works better. Just long, uninterrupted stretches of work.
Another really powerful tool is mindfulness. Now don't worry, this isn't anything too complicated. Just think of it like going to the gym, but for your brain. It helps strengthen what one expert calls the mental muscle that notices when you get distracted. And the stronger that little muscle gets, the faster and easier it is to gently pull your attention right back to where you want it.
Okay, so all of these individual strategies are great, but what about the places we actually have to work in? This brings us to a much bigger conversation, the neurodiverse workplace.
And this is a big deal. With a formal diagnosis, employers may actually be legally required to provide what are called reasonable accommodations. This could be something like getting a private office or permission to work from home more often, or even something as simple as moving a desk away from a busy area like the kitchen. These seemingly small changes can make a world of difference.
And really, it all comes down to this powerful idea from Dr. Puder. The message for managers and leaders should be crystal clear. If you really want a diverse workplace, you have to embrace all the different ways that people's brains work. It's about creating an environment where everyone can actually succeed.
So, that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This whole thing isn't just about accommodating neurodiversity, it's about rethinking our environments from the ground up. What if we designed offices and schools to be focus-friendly, not just by request, but by default? What would that actually look like for every single one of us? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.